What if we pair the 16GB RX 9060 XT with an ultra-wide 3440 by 1440p monitor to play the latest games? Because why not? Let's find out. To test this, I'm using the Asus Prime version of the RX 9060 XT paired with the Ryzen 7 9800X3D CPU to avoid any bottlenecks. By the way, check out my new keyboard. This is Melgeek Mate 68 Ultra. Check out the light bar. It is quite different from what you usually see on the keyboard. High quality, metal body. I like it. I think I'll keep it. If you're interested in the keyboard or any other products featured in this video, you can find them on Amazon at the links in the description below. Let's start with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which we know is well optimized and runs really well and smooth. Let's take a look at the settings. 3440 by 1440p resolution, ultra graphics quality preset, and FSR is set to native anti-aliasing, which means native resolution. Also, I upgraded FSR 3.1 to FSR 4 using AMD's Adrenaline app. That's the official way to upgrade FSR 3.1 to FSR 4 in pretty much any game that supports it, and that list keeps growing. Just today, AMD released yet another driver, adding, I think, 4 more games to the list. For context, today is a pretty hot day here in London, and yeah, take a look at that. It's getting close to 26 degrees Celsius. So if you see that GPU temperature rise, that's why. The room is pretty hot today. This isn't bad already. 40 plus FPS? Okay. On an ultra-wide screen, I prefer having more frames because for me, the gameplay feels a lot choppier than on a 16:9 regular aspect ratio monitor. I guess because I just have more peripheral vision on this screen. So if the frame rate isn't smooth enough, I can feel it pretty well. I think we need to make some adjustments, and let's use resolution upscaling. Let's select FSR 4 quality mode to improve this performance. In my opinion, resolution upscaling at this resolution and this screen size is the best option to enable, or lower, you might say, to get higher frame rate. Of course, we could lower some other graphics settings, but this is the one I go for right away if I don't have enough frames on the screen. Because the image on the screen remains pretty much the same as native. There's very little difference. You'll have to be really looking for those differences in the image quality between native image and FSR 4 quality mode. Previously that was the case before FSR 4 arrived. I still think that FSR 3.1, even native AA, looks pretty horrible, but FSR 4 looks great. And so far so good. Take a look at that. We're getting close to 60 FPS. Nice. Of course, it would be even nicer if we had 90-ish FPS for that next level experience. Shall we try FSR 4 balanced mode? Who knows, it might be good. 69 FPS. Nice. Yeah, the performance increase isn't huge. And the image quality is now a little bit softer, but this is still playable. If you don't mind softer image, then you can use this preset no problem. FSR 4 balanced mode at this resolution is usable now. We gained a few extra frames, but is it worth it? I don't know. I think that's for everyone individually to decide. It might be, but I think there is a better way. and that is lowering the graphics settings to high instead of ultra. And we'll go back to native anti-aliasing. The high graphics preset in this game still looks very nice indeed. There are very few differences between ultra and high, while the FPS is significantly higher, I would say. 50 plus, sometimes above 60. Nice, nice. But in worst case scenarios, we're still getting 50-ish FPS. So for an ultra-wide experience, this is a little bit too choppy for my liking, although it is playable. And that's why I think we should use FSR for quality mode. Let's see what happens. Yes, this is it. This is the kind of experience I like. 80 plus FPS, close to 90. Beautiful. Now the image looks nice and smooth when I pan the camera. I like this. 90 over here, 80 plus, 77 was the lowest I've seen. Yeah, this is fine. If I were playing this game on the 9060 XT, on this monitor, then this is the set of settings I would use. This feels good. The game looks great, fine details are preserved well enough. I think this is it. But I think it's still worth checking out FSR balanced mode. Yeah, the FPS boost is not massive between the FSR for quality mode and FSR for balanced mode. 100 plus in some cases, 90 plus in other cases. I guess it's pretty good. We're still getting dips to 80-ish. So, is it worth it? Once again, it's up to you. If you want a slightly smoother image on the screen, then yeah, at least you have options. Having options is the best, because the worst case scenario is when you have to use like the lowest settings and there is no way to improve the FPS at all. But that's not the case with this GPU. It has enough compute power to handle this game at this resolution. Next up is Oblivion Remastered. This game uses Unreal Engine 5 and it has ray tracing. Also, I upgraded FSR 3 to FSR 4 in this game, so let's check it out. I think we should start right away with optimized settings, because this is a very GPU demanding game, so I don't expect it to run well on the maximum ultra graphics quality preset. High is the best. But we can keep texture quality on ultra because that does not affect the GPU performance at all. It only uses memory, and we have plenty of that on this graphics card, 16 GB. Hardware ray tracing is enabled and set to low. FSR is set to native AA, which means that we are indeed at native 3440 by 1440p resolution. In outdoor scenes, this doesn't look too promising. 30-ish FPS. Wow, okay. This is not great. We definitely have to make some adjustments to the settings to at least try and get a better experience out of this game on this graphics card. And I think the first thing we should do is enable resolution upscaling, quality mode. Let's go. This experience is still pretty meh in terms of FPS, but at least it's playable now. Close to 50 FPS, dropping into high 40s from time to time, and that is while we are outdoors. This is a pretty demanding scene. FSR 4 doesn't work particularly well in this game. when we are looking at the grass as well as leaves in the tree canopies, yeah, there's quite a bit of sizzling happening in motion. While we're standing, everything is absolutely fine. But as soon as we start moving, there is a lot of sizzling. FSR 4 is not working as well as it was in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, for example. It's always hit and miss with this technology. Oh, and the game just crashed. Hold on a second, what happened? Yeah, fatal error. Alright, let's try FSR 4 balanced next. This is a little bit better in terms of frame rate, and the image on the screen is still pretty good. This is still playable. It's just slightly softer. Alright, 50 plus. I guess I can kind of live with it. In this scenario, it's not the best. I prefer having 60 plus FPS. But let's check out another location, shall we? Inside of the town, we're actually getting well above 60 FPS. Very nice. Having hardware ray tracing in this game is actually quite amazing, because the shadows as well as the lighting, it looks very different compared to when you use software ray tracing. Even hardware ray tracing set to low looks very nice indeed. That's why I chose that preset, because we're still getting everything we need from ray tracing. Reflections, shadows, and lighting. Medium ray tracing preset and up just consumes way too much compute power. The 9060 XT is definitely not built for that kind of experiences on high resolution monitors. But this is actually okay. We found a graphics settings configuration that makes this game playable on the 9060 XT with ray tracing. Of course, we could lower some other settings, but yeah, going below high isn't really giving us that much more frame rate, so I don't think it's worth tweaking anything else. Shadows, foliage, and view distance, as well as global illumination, are the settings that you want to lower if you want to get more FPS, but I don't think it's worth it. Better to use, lower quality resolution upscaling to boost our performance. That is the way to go. One thing we could try is use software ray tracing instead of hardware. Let's try that. Software RT, high preset. Let's keep it on FSR 4 balanced for now. If FPS will be high enough, we can increase the quality. But let's see what happens. And I'll reload the game just to be sure that everything works correctly. FPS is a little bit higher, but not by much. And we sacrificed a lot in terms of visuals. Hardware ray tracing looks very nice in this game. Software ray tracing, yeah, I mean, the game is still playable and enjoyable. It's just not looking as nice. So I guess if you're looking for a higher frame rate, you can sacrifice ray tracing, but it's not necessary. As we've seen previously, a low ray tracing preset actually runs okay in this game. It's not gonna be the same for every game, because in some games like Wukong as well as Alan Wake 2, ray tracing is... yeah, you need a much more powerful graphics card to enjoy ray tracing in those games. Some games just don't need ray tracing to look phenomenal. This is Horizon Forbidden West, one of those games. Let's check it out, okay? We are at 3440 by 1440p resolution, using native anti-aliasing, no resolution upscaling, no frame generation, and maxed out graphics settings. Field of view is maxed out as well, depth of field disabled, motion blur disabled, all of those nasty effects are disabled. By the way, lowering the graphics settings to high, for example, isn't worth it. We're pretty much getting the same performance, so I just keep it maxed out. The performance is decent even at native resolution. This is what happens when good design choices are made. This game does look phenomenal visually, and it doesn't need a super powerful graphics card to run it. Okay? 9060 XT, native resolution, ultra-wide, close to 60 FPS. Furthermore, FSR 4 looks very nice in this game, and it's important even for native. Anti-aliasing provided by FSR 4 looks much better than TAA or FSR 3.1. It's night and day difference. Of course, we can increase the FPS by using a little bit of resolution upscaling. Let's set it to FSR 4 quality mode. That gave us a nice FPS boost. 70 plus. My. This feels nice. And as I pan the camera, the image feels smooth enough for my liking. Yeah. This is a very good experience. I have zero complaints about playing this game like so. It's good. Of course, we could lower the resolution upscaling a little bit more. Balanced, for example, to get a slightly higher frame rate. Sometimes we do get dips below 70, 69, nice, but mostly 70 plus and even reaching up to 80-ish. Pretty good. And because FSR 4 is implemented really well in this game, the image quality still looks respectable. 70 plus frames. Let's enter combat. 60 plus. Good. Okay. Get some. Got him. Alright. I think this is a good enough experience. With either FSR 4 balanced or quality mode, the difference in performance is not massive. But once again, we have options, which is good to have. Unfortunately, not every new game supports FSR 4, and that could be an issue. For example, Expedition 33 doesn't have any FSR whatsoever, not even FSR 3.1, which means that AMD cannot enable that override feature that we've been using via AMD's Adrenalin software to upgrade FSR 3.1 to FSR 4. So in this kind of situation, we just have to wait and see if the game developers will actually implement any FSR in this game, which I couldn't find any information if they are even planning on doing that. And obviously DLSS 4 is supported in way more games. That list is massive compared to FSR 4 supported games list, but AMD is moving in the right direction. Initially, I had a very big issue with AMD not pushing FSR 4 fast enough onto games, but now they appear to be doing quite well. They're adding games every now and then, and I'm quite happy with it. I think we are moving in the right direction. But it is my duty to actually tell you what the problems and limitations are if you decide to buy this graphics card. And this is one of them. Let's take a look at why that is an issue. Because this game comes with XeSS even if you want just native anti-aliasing solution, you still have to have something. So XeSS is one option, TSR is another option, and DLSS is also an option, but obviously not for AMD, for obvious reasons. And that is quite odd to see that Intel's resolution upscaling solution is in this game, while AMD's is not. But it is what it is, so we'll have to make do with what we have. Let's start with native anti-aliasing, native resolution, maxed out graphics, epic, everything epic. Because we don't have FSR 4 in this game, even at native resolution it looks, yeah, it looks meh at best. There's aliasing, there's sizzling on some textures, and even like the textures, they don't look detailed. That's one of the things that FSR 4 as well as DLSS 4 excel at, is making the graphics look nice and crisp and clear, and that is a big deal. I just realized that I forgot to turn on the overlay. As you can see, we are getting 30 plus FPS in this game using this settings configuration, native resolution. Not great, not great. We'll have to make some adjustments. Let's go ahead, and the first thing I want to do in this game, because this is another Unreal Engine 5 game, is lower that graphics settings from the absolute maximum epic to high. That is the best way to get more FPS out of any Unreal Engine 5 game. So, let's do it. Also, I'll lower post-process to low because it just introduces blurriness in the game. It uses depth of field, and I don't like that. So let's set it to low. Now that the depth of field effect is gone, we can actually see everything in the distance clearly. We're now getting close to 50 FPS in some scenes. However, will it hold? Will it hold? Yes. Ah, no. 38, 36. We definitely need the help of resolution upscaling in this game, because it is quite GPU demanding. Let's lower that resolution upscaling a little bit. We'll use XeSS Ultra Quality mode. This is comparable to FSR Quality mode as well as DLSS Quality mode. Intel just has a different name for that. Now the performance is good enough, I would say. 70 plus FPS, which means that, yes, we'll drop into 60s from time to time. Could even drop below that at times, but yeah, this is fine. This is good enough. Here's another location. As you can see, we are dipping below 60 in certain scenes, but this is still fine. This is a slow-paced game, so 50 plus FPS is still playable. However, what I do notice is that because we're using CSS on an AMD graphics card, some of these particles in the air, they do produce a little bit of ghosting here and there. Some are looking pretty good. For example, over here right now it's fine, but some leave pretty big trails. So it's a hit and miss. As a result, the image quality on the screen is far from perfect. There are certain issues, pretty much the same kind of issues that I always complain about when I'm testing games with FSR 3.1 or earlier FSR versions. This is the same, because Intel GPUs, when they're using XeSS, they utilize machine learning capabilities that they have, but they don't offer that on other GPUs. You can still enjoy the game. It works well, as you can see. you'll just have a slightly worse experience visually compared to someone with an NVIDIA graphics card. But the problem is that the closest competitor that NVIDIA has to the 16GB RX 9060 XT is the 16GB 5060 Ti, which is a lot more expensive. I mean, if in your region that's not the case, then definitely go for the 5060 Ti. Just make sure that you're getting the 16GB version. Don't get the 8GB version. Those are horrible. Unless you want to play your games using medium textures. In conclusion, I am happy to report that you can use the 16GB RX 9060 XT to enjoy most modern games on an ultrawide 3440 by 1440p resolution monitor, and that is thanks to resolution upscaling technologies. Hardware ray tracing is a hit and miss. Definitely don't count on using any high-level hardware ray tracing effects. That is just not happening on this graphics card at this resolution. But some lower-level stuff, as we've seen in the Oblivion Remastered, yeah, it's fine. Overall, I am well impressed with what this graphics card offers for $350. If you can find it at MSRP, then damn. Definitely pick this one instead of any other NVIDIA GPU for a similar price. The 5060 is absolutely crap. 8GB of memory is not enough. 5060 Ti 8GB is also, you know, a no-go. If you have any 16GB 5060 Ti's in your region at competitive prices versus the 9060 XT, then it's worth considering, because NVIDIA's DLSS 4 is implemented in way more games. So, yeah. But overall, I am very happy with the 9060 XT. I think this is the best graphics card to buy in 2025 if you are on the budget. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this graphics card. And if you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, you can find them on Amazon at the links in the description below. If you found this video enjoyable or helpful, don't forget to reward my work with a like, it helps out a lot. Furthermore, subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.